Hello again. Here we meet for my take again, and this time my take is peace and non-violence. Well, peace is kind of like a journey of non-violence. Now, this is all taken from this book, Peace Through Violence or Non-Violence. It is written by me, Dr. Monika Spolia, and it is solution to world's major conflicts and re-exploring Gandhian philosophy on nonviolence and peace. Okay, so when we hear about peace, what do we usually think? You know, we are surrounded by echoes of peace. We hear the word peace everywhere, but hardly anyone realizes what peace is. Less one knows how to attain it. You know, United Nations has Peace Corps, and soldiers are sent to different places to fight for peace. Do you see these two are antonyms, not synonyms. You have corporations fighting for peace. Some nations are at war because of the nation's belief that it must bring about peace in the other nations by fighting for it. Again, antonyms, not synonyms. And some religious missionaries are propagating peace by increasing the number of converts in their respective religions. And some schools of thought are trying to reason via providing selective knowledge that their ideology is the best for promoting peace. In the name of peace, some cults promote conforming in an attempt to multiply their registrations through perhaps rightful propaganda of salvaging the souls. I'll come to a little later. But what is peace? History has not yet witnessed peace as the aftermath of a war. Never yet. Again, where is peace? Before we look for peace, it is imperative to establish what it is that we're looking for. What is peace? What does it comprise of? What does it entail? What is the definition of peace? Most often, peace is mentioned in binary comparison to war. Peace in opposition to war is criticized as negative peace by some analysts. On the other hand, some analysts stress positive peace, defined as social relations marked by considerable equality in life chances, by justice, or even by harmony. So going on like that. So thus, peace must be practiced because it's not a theory, Peace revivifies dynamism because it's not static. Peace is multifold, intertwined dimension of human time, and it is not linear. And peace is an entire culture. It's a complete philosophy rather than a mere thought or a concept. Can't it just say, I think peace? Yes, you gotta be peace, Peace is to be sought, felt, contained, shared, because it cannot simply be given or taken. It must be invoked inside the soul because it is not to be obtained by asking or demanding. Peace is loving, harmonious, just, and cooperative, vital force that must not be described merely as the absence of war phenomena. It's a path that leads to prosperity and well-being. A messiah of peace in most human form, Mahatma Gandhi, had described a simple grassroots praxis of spinning the wheel not only as a commercial peace but as economic progress leading to political stability. I claim for the Charkha by the honor of being able to solve the problem of economic distress in a most natural, simple, inexpensive, and businesslike manner. The Charkha, therefore, is not only not useless, but is a useful and indispensable article for every home. It's a symbol of a nation's prosperity and therefore freedom. It's a symbol not of commercial war, but of commercial peace. Now, this above example of commercial peace is just one of the many folds of multifold, never-ending process of the stable condition of peace brought about by the non-violence philosophy of Gandhiji. Thus, being in peace is search for peace as means, whereas peace as an end only suggests a beginning of the process, which when journeyed upon will ultimately lead to peace. Okay, so I'm going to simplify it by reading you something from the book that kind of like how I went through this process, okay, for peace. So just bear with me. Okay, so this is the kind of like, you can say, the journey I went through before landing on this complete peace philosophy and realizing what it is. Okay, so I'd like to share that with you. Peace is I. Peace is in me. Peace is within me. Peace lies within Prakriti. That's nature. Peace is the highest moral. Peace is the utmost principle. Peace is the foundation of humanity. In peace is the highest level of education. Peace lights up the of enlightenment in our hearts. Peace is the potential in the sea of matter. Peace is the dynamism of social reality. Peace is vital life force. Peace is alive. Peace is. Peace, peace, peace. In search of peace. I read books to understand peace. I watched documentaries to unravel truth. I volunteered to spread peace. I joined groups to promote peace. I traveled to open my mind to peace. I sought higher education to find answers to peace. I sought peace in temples. I sought peace in devotion. I thought peace is in silence. I thought peace is in love. I thought peace is in nonviolence. At last, I shut my external senses. I envisioned peace inside me. I realized peace is I, peace is in me, peace is within me. You know, you gotta be the change you want to see in the world. And trust me, it's not just by the words or by having read the slogan somewhere. No, this comes from personal experience that as I was going through this, my research and for peace, and I was starting to feel it deeper and deeper. And it is, I will say, very much my own experience that yes, you do have to be the change. You have to become the change you want to see in the world. And until and unless that happens, it's not coming from your heart, you know. So yeah, it is, you know, peace is right now coming from my heart because I have felt it. Okay, and so here it is. I'm not going to read you anything from the book. I am going to read you some lines from what other people have said about the book. Okay, so first I'd like you to read you a few lines by Manas Lyoto. He's an author of Manas's Tales and Thrillers, also available on Amazon. So here it is. Dr. Monika Spolia does a great job in explaining the meaning of peace and setting forth some fundamentals. The key figure at the center is Mahatma Gandhi, as he exemplified the nonviolence philosophy through his lifestyle. Her analysis of his life starts off even much earlier, including references to the times when he was known as Barrister Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. The author demonstrates that the tenets or DNA of peace are within us all. One has to realize the path and follow it. Yeah, very important. Yes. So the inherent framework of this book is a world of harmony and peace. But the ultimate message is that peace and nonviolence are active and vital forces. Thank you very much, Manis. Okay, now I'll read you something said by Mr. Jalaluddin S. Hussain. He's from the Canadian Asian newspaper in Montreal, Reflections from Montreal, a writer, columnist. Okay, so what he said is that this 166-page paperback edition is a well-researched and well-written book and must be read by all those who are interested in global peace issues and the history of political movements. Dr. Spolia has successfully tried to find a solution to the world's major conflicts by re-exploring the Gandhian philosophy. According to her, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi was the first and only one to actually exemplify by living his philosophy of non-violence. It is a book worth reading a few times. particularly chapter 3, which talks about Gandhiji as an internationalist. This particular chapter covers some very important and interesting aspects of Gandhiji's political career. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Hussain, for highlighting that part. See, there's something that appeals to everybody, yeah. So, and this is something was said by Indrani Bhattacharya. She's a columnist. She's a writer as well, and a columnist. She was in Bharat Times, and so she mentioned. I'll just read you a few lines from here and there. Mahatma Gandhi was just not an Indian freedom fighter. His thoughts and attitude towards life could create much deeper impact all over the world. Right? So in the next unit title as Post-Gandhian 1, Monika comes up with interesting and minute details about Gandhiji's travel to America, his subsequent interactions with other renowned political figures, his astonishing influence on Africa awakening, and the very fact that to achieve justice and peace, non-violence should be welcome. Okay. And a very informative book on its own, leaves you amused because of its luminous flow of language. Monika, whose upbringing was shaped by Gandhian nonviolence philosophy under great influence of her parents, through an extensive research, has made this book worth reading. Thank you so much, Indrani Bhattacharya. Thank you. And now I'd like to read you some words written by Dr. Ram Sharma. He's an associate professor and head department of English from UP, Canada. Okay. And now he's sometimes he's associate professor, guest associate professor in University of Delhi. Peace starts with inner peace. So, what he said, Dr. Spolia, although having been a student of science, did her doctorate in anthropology and political science, and she established Bharat Times in Canada to spread peace and love. Though not intentionally, but I guess it's just something inherent that, yes, I like peace, and that's what I like to spread, because this is what I like to see the world as a peaceful place. So this came to me much later. Yeah, I gotta be peaceful myself, you know? All right. So let's see what else he says. Interestingly, the heirs of nonviolence also touched another dynamic African-American speaker, Malcolm X. Despite their contrary approaches to social justice and specific racial injustices in USA, both had one similarity of never giving in to violence themselves. The major difference between them was that Rustin preached what he lived, that is, nonviolence through and through, verbal and physical, whereas Malcolm X spoke of rhetorical militancy, though he never took to arms himself. So we got to dig deeper than, what it looks on the surface. You cannot judge a book by its cover. No. Okay, so the last chapter of this seminal book is titled Epilogue Neo-Gandhiism. Dr. Spolia gives us details of peace works done by many individuals and associations in Canada. And I think it's important for everybody to know, what's being done. The author concludes this book with a poem, Peace Lies Dormant, in me, in you, in them. And all we gotta do is awaken it, provoke it, and make it our own. Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Ram Sharma. And yeah, that's the last one. I'll read you some lines from Mr. Pavitr Singh Bhandari of Montreal. Okay, he kind of related this book with Sanskrit poetry. I would say Sanskrit shlok. We call it shlok, but yeah. So this is what he says. For the sake of family, sacrifice yourself. For the sake of village, sacrifice your family. For the sake of country, sacrifice your village. For the sake of the world, sacrifice your country. For the sake of your soul, what do? For the sake of your soul, sacrifice the world. Well, we have a saying in Hindi, Jaan hai to jahan hai. if you are living, if you're alive, that's when the world is there. If you're not alive yourself, it's not. So what I'm trying to get to at is you have to have the peace in yourself to be able to see the peace in the world. Yeah. So again, Professor Pavitra Singh Bhandari ji continues, Gandhiji not only preached peace but also practiced it. He lived it. He justified the famous Bani of Guru Nanak, Man Jite Jagjit. Victory over mind is victory over the world. That is so very true. Dr. Spolia has updated Gandhiism by adding the writings of those who have been influenced by Gandhiji, like Bayard Rustin and Rosa Parks. She's quoted them extensively. In no way the long quotations diminish the interest of the reader, rather they increase their appetite to read it. And that's what happened to me too, I think he caught on to that. Yes, pretty well. Thank you. And then he mentions further on that Dr. Spolia's humility may be the cause that she has not mentioned the installation of the bust of Gandhi in Quebec City and in Brossard by the efforts of Dr. Uma Srivastava and his team, including Dr. Spolia herself, myself, and others. It is the influence of her anthropology that, like every mantra of Hinduism, she rightly starts her book with Om Shanti and finishes it with Om Shanti, which will never wither away. Long live peace. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Yes, I do agree with that. Okay, so thank you, Mr. Bhandari, for having mentioned that. And another point that I want to bring out is that Gandhi, his full name, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. He was a barrister. He was a lawyer. And so what was his case? If we think about it, he made his way finally back to India after a long time. He was a barrister from Oxford. He went there to learn, and then he ended up in South Africa, had quite movements taking place there, and he went through a lot of changes and new perspectives on life and what's happening around him, etc. Finally made it back to India, and I think he took his country. He defended his country by putting his country on the stand. And at the same time he was putting his country on stand, he did a lot of things which he could see that could improve the country, so that by that time all that interrogation is done, that the country will come out as a winner. It's a new approach of thinking, because we don't think of even Gandhi as that, because Gandhi was given the name by Tagore, Rabindranath Tagore from Bengal, and he had called him Mahatma. Mahatma means a Mahan Atma, a great soul, and Gandhi was a great soul, and he remains as a great soul up to now. And so we usually don't think of him as the other way, but in reality, in technicality, yes, he was none other than a lawyer, and defending his country and wanting to take freedom. And he put his country on stand and polished it in such a way that nobody would even come close, and India did attain independence. And that is not to say that nobody else took part in that. Everybody did. Okay, but since we're talking about his philosophy, and that's why I'm focused around him, it's yes, so it's non-violence. Violence has its place, I wouldn't totally say, because that is part of human nature too. When we're not feeling well, it's we do tend to take to violence. That's fine, but you need a stronger will. You need something higher, something that is even overtakes the violence. And what will that be? Because you cannot just finish everything at violence, and we'll all be like fighting each other off. So something that can overtake that is ultimately peace. So again, the book that is talks about peace through violence or non-violence. It takes you logically through steps of why choose non-violence journey to achieve peace. And it's, again, we are creatures of free choice. It's your choice. So give it a read, a good read, and find out why, for yourself, decide why you want to choose peace through violence or non-violence. All right, available on Amazon all the time by Dr. Monika Spolia, Peace Through Violence, Non-Violence. And so that is all for today's My Take, and my hats off to peace, and till next time.